What's up, guys? My name is D'Angelo Brown, and welcome to another episode of the Movie Madness Popcorn Review. And boy, do we have an episode for you guys today. Today, we will be doing Phineas and Ferb movie speculations for the new Phineas and Ferb movie currently in the works. So without further ado, let's get poppin'. Now what better way to start off this episode than to tell you the description that has been officially released by Disney. So let's go ahead and read that. Dr. Doofus's latest time travel experiment backfires. Erasing the moment Phineas's mom meets Ferb's dad, meaning the boys never become brothers and every day is merely adequate. As reality unravels and the future hangs in the balance, Phineas and Ferb must restore the timeline before it's too late. Now, let's go over the first speculation that a lot of us are probably wondering. Who would get Perry the Platypus? Because in the movie, Phineas and Ferb, in the second dimension, we see a flashback of how Phineas and Ferb adopt Perry. Okay? It's a very sentimental moment because the only reason the boys actually choose Perry is because one of his eyes is looking at Phineas and one of his eyes is looking at Ferb. And so since Perry is looking at both of them at the same time, that is initially why they choose Perry. But with only one brother in the mix, who would Perry initially go to? Because let's see, let's just picture this. So if Ferb is still in England, maybe, or maybe he moves there. Because, like, we don't know what animal Ferb could possibly choose if he goes to the pet store and he doesn't choose Perry. Or if we have Phineas and Candace with their mom, which I feel like that Candace isn't going to be... Well, Candace is going to be a big part of this movie, but we'll get to that in a second. Because if Phineas goes there, we just don't know how that's going to be like. They could both adopt two different animals altogether since they don't know each other. A whole different thing, that could have a very, very important impact. Because then, who would Perry's arch enemy be if it's not Dr. Doofenshmirtz? And therefore, Perry could go get adopted by someone else entirely. So he could end up going somewhere outside the tri-state area. And it'd be cool to see that dynamic, even though I'm pretty sure they're not gonna send Perry away. Or Perry could just stay at the pet shop and not get adopted, and he could become a solo platypus. Because that could also be a thing, because he already has a layer, so But we'll have to see how that is. Next speculation. Would Candace still be trying to bust? As a big sis, it's kind of Candace's job to bust Phineas and Ferb. But with no Ferb, will it still be the same? Because we already know that Phineas is inventive on his own, and Ferb is inventive on his own. But just like you can't have peanut butter without the jelly, guys. It's just not a sandwich. So that could be a big part. Maybe Candace would still try to bust Phineas? Question mark? Because that could be something Century tries to do. Or she could just give up busting altogether. Which is a big part of Candace's character. Candace is always trying to bust Phineas and Ferb. But would she still be trying to bust? Or if we go back to where Ferb, wherever he's going to be located with his father in this movie, would Ferb even invent stuff? Like, what would Ferb be doing if he's not with Phineas? Because there's not been many times that we've seen Phineas and Ferb not together on screen at the same time. Both of them standing, they usually are both standing right next to each other. So that could probably be a big impact. Like maybe they could still be building stuff, but it wouldn't be the same. Okay, next. Will Ferb still be a man of few words? Ferb has always been the less talkative brother, but with this rift in the space-time continuum, could that possibly change? Could Ferb be a man of many words, and maybe Phineas be the quiet guy now? Switching it up, switching it up. So that's something that could change altogether. Cause we all like Ferb's little words, even though as the seasons have progressed, he has said more and more. If they give it to Phineas that he doesn't like really talk anymore, then that could probably affect some other things in Phineas's life. For instance, would Isabella still like Phineas? Because she always liked that creative, imaginative side of Phineas. But would he still be that person without Ferb? That's something we really need to ponder on, guys. Because if Isabella doesn't like Phineas, would it give her a different love interest? Would she even have a love interest at all? Now, this whole space-time continuum stuff, it's probably not going to affect some of the other base characters like Baljeet, Buford, Isabella. It's not going to affect those people, even though they are main characters in Phineas and Ferb's life. I'm pretty sure it might affect their personality some because they kind of come over to Phineas and Ferb's house like every day, but it's not gonna affect them directly. It's not gonna be something like, yeah, Baljeet will now be a bully and Buford will now be the smart one. I don't think that that's gonna happen at all. Because Phineas and Ferb aren't the people who built up their personalities. Their personalities were already like that, as we saw in the episode in season 1 when Phineas and Buford had to fight off against each other in that dumb war. Yeah, some real intense stuff. But their personalities, we see Buford and Baljeet, they were already like that. So Phineas and Ferb now meeting each other, that's not going to affect the dynamic. But Isabella liking Phineas? Now that could change the dynamic if Phineas's personality does change. Okay, let's move on to the next speculation. Would Dr. Doofenshmirtz change? I feel like he wouldn't, since his villainous nature isn't really connected to the boys, so that could stay the same. But the whole Ferb and Vanessa love plot would cease to exist. Which, guys, no. Okay, I need me some Ferb and Vanessa, okay? Those guys right there with some peak writing, okay? But, a lot of things could change, because if Phineas and Ferb never met, then Ferb would never probably ever meet Vanessa. But I feel like it's still possible. It's still possible. If we hope that Ferb and Vanessa, they could still meet each other, even if Ferb and Phineas never met. They could still have contact with each other. Because, Ferb could just be walking down the street and he catches a glimpse of Vanessa, right? Because so that could still be a thing. Next speculation. Will Phineas and Ferb's mom, aka Linda, find someone else? So without Linda and Lawrence ever meeting, we must ponder the question. Will Linda find somebody else? Is it a possibility? Stick with me now, guys. Is it a possibility she gets with Dr. Doofenshmirtz? Because we see them on a date in a flashback in the episode What Do It Do? Season 2, episode 18. If that's the case, that could cause a lot of things to change. And that leads us right into our next speculation. Would we see what it would be like if Vanessa, Candace, and Phineas all lived together? And maybe instead of trying to bust Phineas, if he still builds these crazy inventions, she and Vanessa, both of them working as a team, try to get to see his crazy inventions. Because it wouldn't be the first time Vanessa has tried to bust Doof, but that's just a hunch, because they end up getting together. Then what if Phineas and Dr. Doofus end up forming a kind of like father and son bond, since he could be something there, because the dad, Lawrence, he never really tried to bust Phineas and Ferb. He always just like he went along with whatever they were doing, but their mom would totally freak if she saw that those big dangerous contraptions the boys keep building. But with Dr. Doofusmus and Phineas, could Phineas turn evil? Like, could they be like working together, both of them, trying to take over the tri-state area? I know. It's just a hunch though, guys. Because then Candace and Vanessa can be like, look, they're evil. They're building an evil experiment. And the moms are like, well, it's not there anymore. But for all we know, she could be a single mom or give us some random guy we've never seen on screen before. Now, the boys, they have time travel before, guys. So this ain't going to be their first rodeo, if you know what I mean. But the big main question we have to ask, how would they even come in contact with each other after all? It's not really like we really see a flashback of how Linda and Lawrence even meet. So, there's a lot of things that could happen. Because we don't even know if Phil and Lawrence are going to come to Danville. They could still be living in England for all we know. But we know for a fact that Phineas and Candace, they live in Danville. So we know that, okay? So, but we actually don't know how it's going to be though. Because they could meet. There's so many possible ways that they could meet. But the poster, now this is something that you gotta pay attention to. It's little tidbit stuff like this that could reveal to you guys how they're going to do it. Now the poster showed Ferb slowly fading away. So could this be like a Back to the Future time thing? That if the boys don't fix the timeline, Ferb disappears? Because we're all thinking about what would happen if he didn't exist. But what if we're thinking about this all wrong? What if we get to see them try to make their mom and dad meet, but fail? And then we get a whole part 2 to that. Maybe just a speculation. Now with this new timeline in order, Phineas doesn't remember Ferb, and Ferb doesn't remember Phineas. The only way they do meet is if Ferb moves to Danville, which he probably will, and they go to the same school. And then, when they see each other, maybe they start to remember. Or maybe not. Just a theory. But let's talk about Dr. Doofusnuts for a second here, guys. If something in Doof's life changes, like say Vanessa tends to not exist, or something of that sort, then Doof could easily make an innator. But if Vanessa doesn't exist, he won't remember her. So then, there's also that we have to think about. But ALCA, the organization without a cool acronym, could probably intervene. Like maybe they send Perry back in time to try to fix things, and maybe we see the boys and Perry interact. Or we could see the boys and Dr. Doofenshmirtz working together. This is not the first time we would have seen Phineas and Ferb work with Dr. Doofenshmirtz before. Or if we see them work with Perry. It wouldn't be the first time that we have all those characters on screen interacting. There's a lot to think about, guys. They could whip up a storm with this Phineas and Ferb movie. Or they could do something basic. It'd be cool if they did the Back to the Future idea, though. Ferb slowly fading away. They have mere seconds before they can get their mom and dad to interact, It could be something like that. Or they could do something completely different, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, so, never know the minds of geniuses at work. But that's where I give it off to you guys. What great theories do you guys have? And you guys have main questions that we have to ask ourselves. Will Phineas and Isabella still be a thing? Will Perry still be with the boys? Will Candace still be the bustable girl we all know and love? Will the mysterious force still try to take away their inventions? Will Dr. Doofenshmirtz potentially change? Maybe, maybe not. Will Linda and Dr. Doofenshmirtz get together and be some crazy twisted type plots going on with Phineas and him trying to take over the tri-state area? Will they do a Back to the Future plot? We'll just have to wait and see. Bye. See ya. Until the next pop.